Human rights groups say NATO has failed to investigate civilian deaths caused by its airstrikes on Libya last year. They're calling on the alliance to address the incidents and also pay compensation. NATO says it carried out its strikes with the utmost care and precision. RT's Paula Sleer has more from Tel Aviv.
Amnesty International says that NATO neither properly investigated nor provided compensation for the civilian casualties that occurred during its 7-month operation. And in a statement, Amnesty International said that NATO had made a lot of noise around protecting civilians, and as such, it could not merely brush aside its responsibility with vague statements of regret over civilian deaths. From the beginning of the NATO operation, Russia was very critical, and it said that NATO went beyond its mandate of merely protecting civilians. And hearing from Amnesty International, they know of 55 civilian cases that include 16 children and 14 women. Now, survivors and victims' relatives say that they have never been contacted by NATO for their side of their story or for any kind of compensation. NATO has responded by saying that they deeply regret this, but that their mission and their mandate in Libya is over.
Anti-war activist David Swanson says bombing campaigns for humanitarian purposes don't pay off.
A war launched on the basis of a UN resolution that did not authorize regime change, but that was used for regime change, so that we now have humanitarian warriors pushing for war in Syria and elsewhere, arguing that the UN got NATO into Libya for regime change when it did no such thing. We have Libya held up now, along with Kosovo and the first Gulf War, as a good war, as a humanitarian war, and no explanation of the number of lives killed by NATO and by the U.S. in the process, the lawlessness of the war, the lawlessness of murdering the ruler of a country, and the chaos that resulted, so that there is no expectation in the foreseeable future of a stable democracy with protection for human rights in Libya, as might have been predicted from the fact that we've never achieved such a thing with our bombs before.